Having just heard about Doscember, I thought I couldn't let this opportunity go by to contribute a MS-DOS video before the end of the year. This one solves the age-old problem of how to get MSC 7.0 running in Dosbox. As many of you likely know, MSC 6.0 seems to just work, and that is because it does not require a DOS protected mode interface. Microsoft C7, if this compiler is run from Windows 3.1, which includes its own DPMI hosts, it works just fine. But if this compiler is run straight from MS-DOS, it requires a DPMI host running in DOS. Assuming that this is to get around having to use XMS or EMS, which are really DOS conventions, and allow this to run directly from Windows without worrying about access to any of those traditional real mode DOS memory managers. So by making this DPMI or DOS protected mode program, it was actually able to run in 32-bit mode with a 4 gig flat address space, both inside of DOS and Windows. Because Microsoft bundles a DPMI host into the DOS machine running in Windows, any command line applications or DOS applications run inside of Windows 3.1, as an example, can access DPMI without having to load a DPMI host. And so simply running the CL or compile and link executable for MSC7 in Windows, it will work natively without worrying about preloading any DPMI hosts. In a pure DOS setup where you're not running DOS from within inside of Windows but rather booting straight to DOS, the scenario is different and a DPMI host is required. Microsoft licensed Qualitas Max 386 for this purpose, though this is more than just a DPMI host. It's actually in a full-on memory manager. The challenge with DOSBox is there is no config.sys, as DOSBox itself actually goes and emulates all of the drivers, memory managers, and like needed. So there is no role for config.sys in the DOSBox world, and thus Qualitas Max 386, at least to my knowledge, is not runnable inside of DOSBox. So what does one do? Well, there are several pure DPMI hosts available for MS-DOS that do work inside of DOSBox, and these are executable files that actually load a DPMI host into memory and then are available to be called by DPMI applications. One of the most famous is CWS DPMI, which comes with or is needed by DJGPP, the port of GCC and G++ to MS-DOS. Famous games to have used this include Quake 1. So the obvious attempt was to try and use CWS DPMI to see if that would work. A very weird error about swap files and division by zero and the like happens whenever CL is run with CWS DPMI in memory. So for whatever reason, there's something that's happening under the scenes that is not liked by CWS DPMI. I was using R7, which to date is the latest version. The next candidate I tried was HDPMI, part of the HX suite, and loaded it into memory with the -R. After doing this, CL, or compile and link from C7, did work, and a completed executable was compiled. In order to simplify the loading of HDPMI, or to keep from accidentally forgetting to load it, inside the C700.bat file, inside of the MSC7 folder, you can simply add the loading of that anywhere really inside of that batch file as part of the setup process. This file must be executed before attempting to do any compilation in C7, as it sets up the appropriate pathing and environmental variables to support the compiler. So just adding HDPMI into that is the easiest way to have the environment fully ready for compilation from C7. You can get HDPMI from the site noted here. This is an older version. The author has started to make later versions of this. I've not tested those for compatibility. I'm not sure what they bring to the table, but because this one does function with C7, this is probably the path of least resistance. Though if any oddities are found, definitely search out later versions and give them a try. I hope you enjoyed my Doscember video, very quick and dirty, just like DOS, but wanted to get that out into the universe because this has been a problem that I struggled with, and I assume that some others have as well. So it's good to be able to have a solution for running C7 in Dosbox.